So the first thing we're going to start today is to simplify a fraction. And again, you're going to use your calculator a lot. So if you download the calculator, put it on the side. So the first thing, we're going to write down the fraction in lowest term. And also they're going to ask you when you're doing the homework on the online homework. So the first thing, we're going to write a fraction in lowest term. That means we're going to simplify the fraction. So this is really important. If you see the first example, we have 10 over 85. This is the, like, when we start doing the other cost sections, we're going to solve, then we arrive to this one. Then we have always to check if you have a fraction. Keep this note in your mind. Every time when you see your solution is a fraction, check if you can simplify it. So with this one, when you simplify, start from the smallest number. Now check what's the common number between 10 and 85. We have to find a common. 10, we can divide 10 by 2. But I can't divide the 85 by 2. By 3, I can't. By 4, I can't. I have to find a common number, so I can divide both these numbers by this common number.
A 5.
So the 5, perfect. That's the basic how you're gonna find. So you have to find a common number between these two numbers, which is the 5. That's mean I can divide the 10 by 5, and I can divide the 85 by 5. So 10 divided by 5 is going to be 2, and 85 divided by 5 is going to be 17. Also, I need to check these two numbers. If you check the result, you can't find a common number between 2 and 17. That's mean I already got my solution. This is really important. Always, when you see a fraction, you have to check the common between these two numbers. Here is the second example. If you have 24 over 26. So now the same thing, we have to find a common between these two numbers. Can you divide, what's the common between these two numbers, 24 and 26? If you can't find a common number, start from the smallest number.
2.
So from 2. Okay, so let's start from 2, then we're going to check the 3. Always start from the smallest number. So if I divide 24 by 2, it's going to be 12.
12.
If you divide 26 by 2, it's going to be 13. Can I simplify 12 over 13? No, that means this is the result. If you said 3, can you divide 24 by 3? Yes, it's going to be 8. But can you divide 26 by 3? Yes or no?
No.
No, it's going to be 8.66. We can't write down a decimal number with the fraction. So this is wrong. So this is the right solution. So always start from the smallest number and keep going up, up, up. Let's do this example. 77 over 55. What's the common between these two numbers?
11.
Yeah, because we can't choose the 2, we can't choose the 3, because the 3 is not a common, the 4 is not a common, the 5, the 6, until you arrive at 11. Because if you divide 77 by 11, it's going to be 7. If you divide 55 by 11, it's going to be 5. I can't simplify anymore, so this is the solution for this example. 140 over 260. What's the common?
12. No, I
Okay.
mean,
Okay, you said 12. Let's try it. How are we gonna try it? 12. Okay, you see, I'm gonna use the calculator. If you said 140 divided by 12, how much is going to be? 11 point. So we can't use this one. Can you use the 10? Can I use the 10?
Yes.
yes.
Yeah, let's use the 10. 26, you see, by 10 is going to be 26. So divide by 10, divide by 10. 140 divided by 10 is going to be 14. 260 divided by 10 is going to be 26. Can I simplify it more?
Yes.
By 2. So
Two.
divide this one by 2. 14 divided by 2 is going to be 7. 26 divided by 2 is going to be 13. I can't simplify it anymore, so this is the solution. You see, if you check these examples, it already exists on the workbook. That's why we're going to use the workbook to solve the examples. And if you know how to solve all the examples on the workbook, everything on the online homework is going to be a piece of cake for you. How to convert from an improper fraction to a mixed number. Because they're going to ask you when you're doing the homework. So we're going to convert from an improper fraction to a mixed number. I'm going to show you the way to do that. And you will see the mixed number how it looks like. Mixed number or mixed fraction is called mixed number. So an improper fraction, for example, if you have 7/2. This is the improper fraction, which is just numerator, denominator. It's an improper fraction because the numerator is greater than denominator. That's why it's called improper fraction. If it's the opposite thing, it's going to be proper fraction. But we're just going to use this one, how to convert this one to a mixed number. We're just going to do the long division. So the long division, I'm going to do it here. This one, we're going to divide 7 by 2. You see, 7 divided by 2. 7 divided by 2, the nearest number is going to be 3. 3 times 2 is going to be 6. And here is the remainder. So this is the remainder. I'm done. I need to write down the mixed number now. How are we going to write down the mixed number? So you see, this is the result. This one is going to be equal. The result is a 3. The remainder here is 1. And the divisor, exactly the same thing. So to convert an improper fraction to a mixed number, just do the division. 7 divided by 2 is going to be 3. 3 times 2 is going to be 6. And the remainder is going to be 1. So here's the result. This is the remainder on the top, and the divisor is going to be 2, exactly the same thing. Let's do another example about that, which is exactly the same way. This is really important to convert the improper fraction to a mixed number, and the opposite way, we're going to use it a lot. But sometimes they're going to ask you, when you do multiplication between two fractions, you will get the result like 7/2. They're going to ask you to convert this one to mixed number, to write down the result as a mixed number. So you have to do these steps on the side. Just divide 7 divided by 2. It's going to be 3. 3 times 2 is going to be 6. And the remainder is 1. Here is how we're going to write down. The result is going to be 3. And the remainder over the divisor. Let's do another example, like 33 divided by 4. 33 divided by 4, exactly the same thing. I'm going to say 33 divided by 4. So 33 divided by 4 is going to be 8, because 8 times 4 is going to be 32. So 8 times 4 is going to be 32. The leftover is going to be 1. The remainder is 1. So this one is going to be equal. The result is 8. And the remainder is 1. The divisor is 4. So this is the mixed number. How to convert from improper fraction to a mixed number? We're just gonna do the division. (21 over 5). We're gonna convert it to a mixed number. So it's going to be 21 divided by 5. So let's check which number we're going to do. The 4. 4 times 5 is going to be 21.
20.
So 4 times 5 is going to be 20. The leftover is going to be 1. So this one is going to be equal. Here's the result, 4. And the remainder is 1. The divisor is 5. This is the mixed number. Now let's do the how to convert a mixed number to an improper fraction. Let's do an example. Now, if we have 3 over 5, of course, you can do exactly the same examples here and check if we convert it from mixed number to an improper fraction. Let's do this example. You don't have to do division. Do these steps. You're going to multiply these two numbers. The first thing, you see the divisor? I'm going to write down the divisor exactly the same, 5. Now, I'm going to multiply these two numbers. Multiplication here, 5 times 3, and the result, 5 times 3, and the result, you're going to add this number. So you're going to multiply these. The result is going to be 15. Let's write down the result here so you can know. 5 times 3 is going to be 15, and then I'm going to add the 3. 15 plus 3 is going to be 18. Write down 18 here. So it's going to be 18 over 5. So I convert from a mixed number to an improper fraction. Let's do another example. 15 7 over 10. We're going to do exactly the same thing. We're going to multiply these two numbers. And here's the result. I'm going to write down the result here. Then I'm going to add the 7. You see, the divisor is going to be exactly the same. 10 times 15 is going to be 150. I'm going to write down 150 here. You don't have to write down the 150 here, but 10 times 15, 150, plus 7 is going to be 157. That's it. So 157 over 10. This is the improper fraction. This is the mixed number. Also, we're going to use this one. If there's any problems with these examples, let's do another example. If you check the first example we took, 7 over 2, the result is 3, 1 over 2. So we're going to multiply these two numbers. 2 times 3 is going to be 6. 6 plus 1 is going to be 7 over 2. You see, exactly the same result. This is an improper fraction. This is the mixed number. This is the first example we did, 7 over 2. So that's how you convert it from improper fraction to a mixed number. And we will see that in the next example when we start doing the multiplication and the division between two fractions. Now the multiplication between two fractions. So how to multiply two fractions? To multiply two fractions, 6/3. Let's change this number because we can simplify 6/3. 6/7 times 2/5. Keep in your mind, to multiply two fractions, you're just going to multiply straight across. 6 times 2, 6 times 2, and 7 times 5. 6 times 2 is going to be 12. 7 times 5 is going to be 35. And always, you see, I have 12/35. Always you have to check if you can simplify the result. 12 divided by 35, I can't simplify it anymore. So this is going to be the final result. Let's do another example. So always check if you can simplify your result. Let's do another example. Four over 6 times 3/5. Again, always check if you can simplify. 4, we're going to multiply two fractions. 4 times 3 it's going to be 12. 6 times 5 is going to be 30. Can I simplify it? Yes, you can simplify it. You have to find a common number. If you can't find a common number, you can start dividing by 2, and the result you have by 3, and keep going. But the common between 12 and 30 is 6, because I can divide 12 by 6, and I can divide 30 by 6. 12 divided by 6 is going to be 2, and 30 divided by 6 is going to be 5. Let's do this one again. If you have 12/30, and you can't find the common between these two numbers, you can start dividing by 2, by the smallest number. Can I divide 12 by 2 and 30 by 2? Yes, 12 by 2 is going to be 6. 30 by 2 is going to be 15. Check the result. Can I simplify it more? Yes, I can divide both by 3. Because 6 divided by 3 is going to be 2. 15 divided by 3 is going to be 5. You see, we get exactly the same result. So if you can't find the common number, you can start from the smallest number and keep going until you find two numbers. You can find a common number between these two numbers. That means it's going to be the final result. The main thing here, the multiplication between two fractions, you're just going to multiply straight across. 4 times 3 and 6 times 5, and always check your result if you can simplify it. This is the multiplication between two fractions. What about if we have division between two fractions? That's the only difference between multiplication and division between two fractions. To divide two fractions. Sorry. How are we going to divide two fractions? We're going to do exactly the same steps, but we have to do one more extra steps. For example, if you have 7/2 divided by 5/6. How are we going to divide? Keep in your mind, when you multiply, you're just going to multiply straight across. When you divide, you're going to write down the first fraction exactly the same, 7/2. Convert the division to multiplication. Take the reciprocal for the second one. The reciprocal for 5/6 is going to be 6/5. So now you have to keep in your mind, what's the reciprocal for the number? The reciprocal for any number. Let's do this one on the side, or the next example. If they ask you to find the reciprocal for any number, that's mean you're going to flip the number. You're going to flip the number upside down. So the reciprocal for 5/6 is going to be 6/5. Now we're going to do the multiplication. Now we have multiplication between two fractions. How to multiply? We're going to multiply instead of cos. 7 times 6 is going to be 42. 2 times 5 is going to be 10. Now, can I simplify it? Yes, I have common between these two numbers, which is 2. So I'm going to divide this one by 2, divide this one by 2. So the result is going to be 42 divided by 2 is going to be 21. 10 divided by 2 is going to be 5. So here is the final result. Again, this is the division between the two fractions. You're going to write down the first number, change the division to multiplication, check the reciprocal for the second number. So maybe they're going to ask you on, 1 second, when you're doing the online homework, the reciprocal for the number. So let's cover this one, then we're going to take another example about how to do the division between two fractions. First of all, write down these. They ask you find the reciprocal. For 8/9. The reciprocal for this one, we're just going to flip the number. So it's going to be 9
I know
over
where
8. Sorry, I thought you have a question. So if they ask you just to find the reciprocal, you're just going to flip the number. So 8/9 is going to be 9/8. If you have 1/16, it's going to be 16/1, which is exactly the same 16. 1/16 is not the same thing 16/1. 1/16 is going to be a decimal number, but 16 divided by 1 is going to be 16. What about if they ask you to find the reciprocal of 14? Before we find the reciprocal, because this is a little bit confusing.
14/1.
The 14, you can write down the 14 as a 14/1. So be careful with this one. They ask you about the reciprocal. 14 is the same thing, 14/1. To find the reciprocal, I'm going to find the reciprocal for 14/1. So 14/1 is the reciprocal is 1/14. That's the reciprocal for 14. So be careful. 1/16. That means the reciprocal is going to be 16/1, which is equal to 16. If you have just a number 14, like 14, write down the 14 as 14/1, then find the reciprocal, which is 1/14. That's how we're going to find the reciprocal, which is exactly the same way when we're using the division. Let's take another example about the division. Check if we have this example, which is division. If we have 5, 2/3, divide by 2, 7/3. Check these two numbers here. This is a mixed number, this is a mixed number. We can do the division and we have a mixed number. So we have to convert these two mixed numbers to a proper fraction. So we can do the division. Let's convert the first one. 5 times 3 is going to be 15. 15 plus 2 is going to be 17/3. This is the first number. divide by. 3 times 2 is going to be 6. 6 plus 7 is going to be 13. So it's going to be 13 divided by 3. Now we have division between 2 and a proper fraction. We're just going to use exactly the same way. Write down the first number, 17/3. Convert the sign from division to multiplication. Take the reciprocal for the second one, 13/3. The reciprocal is going to be 3/13. Now we have multiplication between two fractions, which is going to multiply straight across. 17 times 3 is going to be 51. 3 times 13 is going to be 39. Always check. Can you simplify your solution? Yes, because there's a common number between 51 and 13, which is the 3. Because if you divide 51 by 3, it's going to be 17. 39 divided by 3 is going to be 30. Is there a common between these two numbers? No, that means this is the result. So you see, that's really important because sometimes they're going to give you a mixed number and they ask you to find the division between these two mixed numbers. So you have to convert the mixed number to an improper fraction, then use exactly the same way to find the division between two improper fractions by write down the first number, convert the division to multiplication, take the reciprocal for the second one, so it's going to be 3/13. Then do the multiplication between two fractions. 17 times 3 is going to be 51, and 3 times 13 is going to be 39. Then divide both these numbers by 3, because there's common between 51 and 39, which is the 3. So the result is going to be 17/3. If we have a fraction with the same denominators, how are we going to add these two fractions? For example, if we have 2/5 plus 3/5. You see, these two fractions, we need to add these two fractions and these two fractions with the same denominator. So what we're going to do, we're going to write down the denominator 5, and we're going to add the denominator, which is 2 plus 3 is going to be 5. So this is the result about adding 2/5 plus 3/5. But check, 5/5. 5 divided by 5 is going to be 1.
What are we doing right here?
Like we simplify it. So let's do another example about how to add two fractions with the same denominator. So if we have 2/7 minus, let's do it minus 5/7. Now it's subtract between two fractions or minus between two fractions with the same denominator. So we're gonna write down the 7. 2 minus 5. Be careful here with the sign. 2 minus 5. Don't do mistakes here. It's not a 3, it's -3. 2 minus is going to be -3. 2 minus 5 is -3. That means the result is going to be -3/7. Also, I can't simplify it, so this is the result. And always, you see, check if you can simplify it. With this one, we can simplify it. With this example, the previous one, 5 divided by 5 is going to be 1. That means we simplify it. 9/2 minus 1/2. Adding minus 2 fraction with the same denominator, so it's going to be 2 here. 9 minus 1 is going to be 8. Can I simplify it? Yes, because 8 divided by 2 is going to be 4. So this is the result. So this is our goal. Always you have to check if you can simplify it. Second part, if we add two fractions with different denominators, that's the important thing. If we add two fractions with different denominator, how are we going to solve this one? So here's an example. If we have 9/25 plus 1/5. You see, this is the basic thing. You see, I have different denominator, 25 and 5. If you check the previous examples, we have exactly the same denominator, 7, 7, 5, 5, 2, 2. But with this one, we have to get exactly the same denominator. How am I going to do that? I'm going to check this one. If I multiply 5 by 5, it's going to be exactly the same thing here, 25. So I'm going to say, I'm going to multiply the denominator by 5 and the denominator by 5. So this one, 9/25 plus 1 times 5 is going to be 5. 5 times 5 is going to be 25. Now I get exactly the same denominator here. So I'm going to write down 25. Then 9 plus 5 is going to be 14. Can I simplify it? No. So this is the final result. So that's how you're going to find the common denominator between 25 and 5. You're gonna, if you multiply 5 by 5, is going to be 25. That's how we're going to find the common. Now we have exactly 25 and 25. We're just gonna go back and do exactly the same previous method. Let's do another example about that. Let's do another example about that, how to, the same thing if you have addition and minus between two fractions. If you have 5/6 minus 1/4. You see, we have different denominators and we need to get exactly the same denominator. So check, with this part, we can't multiply 4 by a number to get 6. And we can't multiply the 6 by a number to get 4. So what we're going to do, we have to multiply both these numbers to get exactly the same denominator. So I'm going to check. If I multiply 4 by 3, I'm going to get 12. So, and if I multiply 6 by 2, I'm going to get 12, which is exactly the same denominator. So I'm going to multiply this side by 3, and I'm going to multiply this side by 2. Here's the minus. 4 times 3 is going to be 12. 2 times 6 is going to be 12, which is exactly the same denominator, and that's what I want. I want exactly the same denominator so I can go to the next step. 2 times 5 is going to be 10. 1 times 3 is going to be 3. Now I get exactly the same denominator. I'm just going to write down the denominator. 10 minus 3 is going to be 7. Again, I have to check. Do I have a common? Can I simplify it? No. That means this is the final result. To the last example today, which is if you have, like this example, 4 2/3 minus 3/7. You see, the first thing, we have minus between two mixed numbers. So let's convert this one to an improper fraction and convert this one to an improper fraction. Three times 4 is going to be 12. 12 plus 2 is going to be 14. So 14/3 minus 7 times 3 is going to be 21. 21 plus 3 is going to be 24/7. I have now minus between two and a proper fraction. And now I need to multiply by the same number, or I need to get the same denominator. So I'm going to multiply this side by 7 and this side by 3. By 7 and this one by 3. So what I'm going to get here, I'm going to get 98 over 3 times 7 is 21 minus. On this side, 7 times 3 is going to be 21. 24 times 3 is going to be 72. If you check now, we have exactly the same denominator. 21 here, 98 minus 72 is going to be 26. We can't simplify it, so this is the final result. That's how, if you have two mixed number, how you're gonna convert it. What about if you're gonna get an example on online homework like 4 plus or minus, let's say 1/2. Doesn't matter, plus or minus, just a number. If you have a number, can you write down the number 4 as a 4/1? Because 4 is the same thing 4/1.
Reciprocal.
Plus 1/2. So you see, I can write down these. Now I can find the common denominator between these two. I just need to multiply this one by 2. So this one is going to be 8/2 plus 1/2. Now we have the same denominator 2. 8 plus 1 is going to be 9. Can I simplify it? No. So this is the final result. In case if you have minus or plus, but the main thing here, if you have a number, you're going to get confused. I'm just going to convert the number. Any number you have by itself is going to be over 1. Then find the common denominator between 1 and 2. Multiply 1 by 2 is going to be 2. And I get the same denominator.